I saw a documentary. I don't know if you heard about this. I don't know if you heard about a company called Holt in Korea. So back when both Koreas were at war, right? And the US soldiers went there, a lot of shady stuff happened. And listen, you got to look for that on YouTube. I was shocked at that because every time there's a story of shady adoption things in Korea, this company called Holt is always involved. That's crazy. So listen to that story. So there was the Korean Wars, right? North Korea against South Korea. The US military, they arrive, they create a base, and the US government and the South Korean government, they decide to organize a woman trade of sexual services. Imagine how crazy it is. So they tell women, hey, listen, you go work at that bar, and if a soldier wants to be with you, yeah, just let them be with you. And now all these women, they're telling them, yeah, sell your body. It's patriotic. You're doing this for Korea, etc., etc. Let these American men, have sex with you. Some crazy thing. So now they drug them, they give them LSD, and now a lot of them start having STDs. When they have STDs given to them by the soldiers, a lot of them are getting penicillin shots, and a lot of them die. And a lot of them also they get pregnant from US soldiers. Now, some of these kids are half white American and then half Korean. But then some of them are Korean and Black American. And because Korean wants the new leaders, they want like clean blood, pure Koreans. They kind of don't like the idea of Black Korean babies. So a lot of them are forced, or they don't even know, because a lot of them are young, 15, 16, 17. A lot of them end up having to give the baby to this company, right? And called Holt. And this company organize mass adoption of all these kids of prostitutes to American families. And what they tell to these American families is that the kids are kids of people that died during the Korean Wars 60 years ago or 50 years ago. That's what they're telling to the American families that are adopting all these babies. And to the women, the prostitutes, they're telling them, oh, he's dead. Or, hey, listen, black kid, nah, send them to America. That's how you had a bunch 50 years ago, a whole like 2,000 baby every year that were going from South Korea to the US and get adopted by US families. And then they started giving them to Dutch families, French French families everywhere. Yeah, you adopted. Your parents died. And then there were also a lot of kids that were just stolen. They were stolen because they needed babies to give to adoptions. And all these Americans, we want to adopt babies. All these war babies, please bring them. Americans are crazy. Anyway, now thousands of kids get adopted by sometimes good people, sometimes sexual predators, etc., etc., etc. And this documentary I saw was about the people who, after all these years, started looking for, people who adopted. Some of them, they don't care. They just want to live their life with their parents, the new parents. And some of them, they want to find out who they really are. So a lot of them started going to Korea, going to that company halls, asking for information, and they were never given any information, or all the files were always like, yeah, your parents are dead. And then they realized that it's not true. And so the YouTube video I saw, and you can find a lot of them on YouTube, were stories of, I think I watched 10, 20 videos of people who are actually looking for their real mothers, because there are also a lot of people where they told us, they told them, sorry, yeah, your kids is coming back, don't worry, it's just for a better life for maybe a few years, he'll come back in 5 years. So they give the kids away because they're young, etc. And then they've been waiting for the kids for 50 years. And so the first video I saw was the story of one person who actually was half black, half Korean, and was raised in Holland. And then he came to South Korea looking for his mom and hoping that she didn't die, because all these women are 70, 80 and more. And they're coming back to all this, and you discover the scandal that all this was. Listen, you should go look for it, like Korean adoption scandal in South Korea. I was watching this and I was like, yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. There was this woman, these two women, same company again. It's two women. One was adopted by a French family, and the other one was adopted by a US family. And one day somebody see one of the girls on Facebook, and then they realize that, oh, it's not my friend. So tell the girl, hey, look, there's a girl that really looks like you. So they start talking, and they realize they are twins. They are twins, and they were separated at birth, because back in the days, it was only one kid per family. So the hospital, you give birth, the hospital comes and just separate both. Twins. And they realize only when they are like 26, 25, 30, that they have a twin sister. And now they go back to the hospital, and they see the people who, the nurses, it's a journey. And listen, I was watching this and I was saying to myself how lucky I am to be born, how I was born, to who I was born, to have both my parents my whole life married and stuff, and not having to go through this craziness. That was, Deborah, this was crazy. I was watching these documentaries, and when you start watching one, you start understanding there's tons of videos, because it's thousands and thousands and thousands of children who are going through this right now, who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they've been in the US or in France or in XYZ. They discover they have brothers, they discover they have twins, they discover that they have that their real mom didn't abandon them. Like, because imagine if you spent your whole life believing that your family abandoned you. Imagine that. You spent your whole life imagining that, yeah, your mother abandoned you back in the days. It was the war, or maybe she died and you got adopted. So you got lucky because you got adopted in an American family. And then you realize 30 years later that you've been stolen. You've been stolen, or your mom was forced to be a prostitute for American soldiers. One American soldier just put you pregnant. They didn't care. They came here to be stationed as militaries. So they just came here to fuck. And then your mom gets pregnant. She's 16, 17. They tell her, yeah, give the baby. She gives the baby. She doesn't know what to do. They just take the baby. They tell her it's a patriotic duty. Boom. Give the baby. Send you to the US. So you have a great life in the US. But in your head, you're like, damn, my real parents abandoned me. Like, that's horrible to feel that. In your body, you're like, listen, I love my adoptive parents, but these motherfuckers abandoned me. And you come to realize that, no, there's a woman in South Korea who has been waiting for you for 50 years. Looking, how can I find you? She doesn't even speak English, but she's there. She's asking for questions. And when she asks for questions, they tell her, yeah, your baby died. Listen, that's crazy. That's crazy. Listen, go check it out. It's crazy.